Alhamdulillah, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, may peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Have you ever felt like the weight of the world is pressing upon your chest, and no matter how hard you try, the pain refuses to leave? Have you wondered why the heartache lingers, why the prayers seem unanswered, why the night feels longer than it should? Know this, in those moments, your soul is not abandoned. Allah is closer than your own jugular vein, listening to every silent cry, feeling every tear that falls. Allah says, and we will surely test you with something of fear and hunger and a loss of wealth and lives and fruits. But give good tidings to the patient. Quran 2:15-5. Your hardships are not signs of punishment. They are whispers of divine wisdom, guiding your heart toward Him. What seems like delay is, in reality, preparation. What seems like darkness is the very soil where your faith will blossom. We struggle because we long for certainty in a world that refuses to promise it. We break because our hearts have hopes that the eyes cannot see fulfilled. Yet this is where faith becomes alive. This is where tawakkul, trust in Allah, is tested and perfected. Sabr is not simply waiting. It is waiting with dignity, with belief, with the soft certainty that what Allah has decreed for you cannot be denied. This is what sabr truly means. It is the soul leaning gently against divine wisdom, even when the world pulls in every other direction. Remember, the Prophet taught us that no fatigue, nor disease, nor sorrow, nor sadness, nor hurt, nor distress befalls a Muslim, even if it were the prick he receives from a thorn, but that Allah expiates some of his sins for that. Every struggle you endure is not wasted. Every tear is not unnoticed. Every broken piece of your heart is being gathered, mended, and reshaped for a future only Allah knows, a miracle waiting to bloom when the time is right. Turn your gaze inward. Breathe and remember Him. Speak to Him even when words fail. Let your heart whisper, Ya Allah, I trust you, even when I cannot see. Let go of resentment, of the what-ifs, of the weight of unanswered prayers. The soul finds freedom not when the pain ends, but when surrender begins. When forgiveness, hope, and remembrance take root, even the deepest wounds begin to heal. Miracles do not always announce themselves with grand gestures. Sometimes they arrive quietly. A calm heart, a softened heart, a door opening where all seemed closed. Allah says, indeed, with hardship comes ease. Quran 94:6. Believe this with every fiber of your being. Hold on to hope, even if it is the smallest ember. For hope is a divine gift, a spark that no despair can extinguish. And in that spark lies the promise that your heart, wounded yet faithful, will witness His mercy in ways you never imagined. So do not lose hope. Lean into your faith. Trust in the unseen. For Allah's plan is perfect, and His miracles are closer than your breath. Life's trials, no matter how heavy they feel, are not permanent. They come and go like waves upon the shore, each carrying a lesson within its depths. Every difficulty you face, every moment of uncertainty or fear, is a part of Allah's greater design, a design that is beyond our comprehension, yet perfectly tailored for our growth. It is easy to feel overwhelmed when pain arrives uninvited, when loss pierces the heart, or when the burdens of life seem too heavy to bear. Yet Islam teaches us that these hardships are not meaningless. They are divine instruments meant to refine the soul, cleanse the heart, and elevate the spirit. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, allows these trials to enter our lives not to punish, but to awaken, to guide, and to remind us of our dependence on Him. The struggles you face are often veiled forms of mercy, shaping your character, building resilience, and teaching patience that cannot be learned in ease. Consider how the Prophet endured immense trials, yet through his patience, trust, and unwavering faith, he emerged as a beacon of hope for the world. Similarly, your hardships are opportunities to strengthen your iman, to draw closer to Allah, and to discover the quiet strength that lies within you. When we view difficulties through this lens, pain transforms from an enemy into a teacher, guiding us toward reflection, humility, and surrender. Each trial carries a hidden gift, the chance to trust more deeply, to love more purely, and to hope more fervently. The temporary nature of hardship reminds us that nothing in this world is permanent, and it calls us to anchor our hearts in the eternal, to seek solace not in fleeting comforts, but in the remembrance of Allah, whose mercy encompasses all things. Hardship in life is not merely an obstacle to be endured. It is a test of faith and a profound opportunity for spiritual growth. Every moment of struggle is designed to reveal the strength of your iman, to measure the depth of your reliance on Allah, and to shape your character in ways that comfort and ease alone never could. Islam teaches us that the believer is not defined by a life free of difficulty, but by the way they navigate the trials placed before them with patience, trust, and hope. When sorrow presses heavily upon the heart, or when the path forward seems uncertain, it is in these very moments that the soul is invited to turn inward and upward, to seek Allah's guidance, and to remember that true strength is rooted in divine connection rather than worldly control. Hardship allows the heart to awaken to its need for Allah, to shed illusions of self-sufficiency, and to cultivate a deep humility that brings one closer to the one who knows what lies in every heart. This struggle is not punishment, but a form of mercy, for through it the believer learns perseverance, compassion, and gratitude. The Prophet reminded us that trials are a means of purification, a way to cleanse the soul of hidden faults and to draw nearer to Allah's mercy. Suffering, when met with patience and trust, becomes a vehicle for inner transformation, turning despair into hope, weakness into resilience, and confusion into clarity. It is through these moments of testing that faith is solidified, character is refined, and the soul grows stronger, more attuned to divine wisdom. By embracing the trials of life as purposeful and meaningful, the believer discovers that hardship is not an enemy to fear, but a teacher, guiding each step toward greater spiritual maturity and a deeper, unwavering connection with Allah. Allah's timing is perfect, even when our hearts struggle to understand it. We live in a world that measures everything by the clock, by deadlines, by schedules, yet the divine rhythm of life operates on a level far beyond human comprehension. What feels delayed, what seems lost or unattainable, is often arriving precisely at the moment that will bring the greatest benefit, the deepest lesson, or the most profound ease. When we yearn for relief, for answers, for blessings to appear, it is easy to grow impatient, to question, to despair. Yet Islam teaches us that Allah knows what is best for us, and His timing is always exact. He says in the Quran, "It may be that you dislike a thing which is good for you and that you like a thing which is bad for you. Allah knows, while you know not." 2:21-6. There is wisdom hidden in what seems like delay, a purpose behind every pause, and a plan unfolding even when we cannot perceive it. Sometimes what we imagine as late is actually a shield against harm, a protection from something we are not ready to bear, or the preparation of a greater blessing we cannot yet recognize. Trusting Allah's timing means surrendering our urgency and our need to control every outcome. It means believing that the wait is not a punishment, but a preparation, that the unseen path holds mercy greater than anything we could create for ourselves. When we align our hearts with divine timing, we find patience easier, hope more persistent, and faith deeper. Waiting becomes an act of worship, a practice of surrender, and a manifestation of trust. Every delayed answer, every postponed relief carries with it a subtle teaching that Allah's wisdom is perfect, His plan is precise, and His timing is always exactly what we need even when we cannot see it. Sabr, or patience, is one of the most profound acts of faith in Islam, yet it is often misunderstood as mere passive endurance. True sabr is an active, conscious trust in Allah, a deliberate choice to rely on Him even when the heart trembles and the mind questions. It is not simply waiting for hardship to pass, but maintaining hope and steadfastness while the test unfolds, trusting that every moment carries divine wisdom. The Prophet taught us that patience is half of faith, emphasizing that it is not only a response to difficulty, but a vital part of a believer's relationship with Allah. When we practice sabr, we are acknowledging that our control is limited, and that the one who holds the universe in his hands knows what is best for us. Life will inevitably bring trials, heartbreak, loss, disappointment. But each of these is an invitation to turn inward, to refine the soul, and to draw nearer to Allah. Patience softens the heart, nurtures humility, and strengthens our reliance on divine guidance. It allows us to face suffering without despair, to endure pain without bitterness, and to trust that what is meant for us cannot be taken away, and what is taken may hold unseen blessings. Sabr transforms waiting into a spiritual practice, making the heart fertile for hope, gratitude, and resilience. It teaches us to lean on Allah when the world feels unstable, to remember that ease follows hardship, and that divine wisdom often arrives in ways we could never anticipate. By embracing patience, we are not surrendering to fate, we are surrendering to Allah. Choosing faith over fear, hope over despair, and trust over control. True sabr is a quiet power, a steadfast light that illuminates even the darkest nights of the soul. Pain and heartbreak are natural parts of the human experience, yet Islam reminds us that Allah's mercy surpasses all suffering. Every wound, every tear, every moment of despair is witnessed by the most compassionate, and none of it is ever wasted. Sometimes, the heart feels shattered beyond repair, and the mind wonders how joy could ever return. But these are precisely the moments when faith becomes the anchor of the soul. The Prophet taught us that no hardship, no sorrow, no grief touches a believer without bringing a measure of divine mercy. Every difficulty carries with it a hidden blessing, even if it is invisible at first. Pain softens the heart, makes us more compassionate toward others, and teaches humility, reminding us that life is transient and that true peace is found in Allah alone. Heartbreak may close doors, yet it also opens the soul to trust in divine wisdom and to surrender with sincerity. Islam encourages turning toward Allah in these moments, speaking to Him with honesty, shedding tears in His presence, and seeking solace in remembrance, prayer, and reflection on His words. When the soul is broken, Allah's love is the gentle balm that begins the healing process. Healing is not always instantaneous, but with patience and trust, the heart gradually mends, becoming more resilient, more attuned to mercy, and more aware of the beauty that exists even in trials. Through suffering, we are reminded that life is a test, but also a journey of closeness to Allah, where each challenge is an opportunity to refine our character and strengthen our reliance on Him. The depth of pain often parallels the depth of divine reward, and through remembrance, hope, and surrender, the heart finds its way back to light and serenity. Every struggle we face in life carries a divine lesson, even when it is hidden beneath layers of pain, confusion, or frustration. Human beings often wish for life to be smooth, predictable, and free of obstacles, yet Islam teaches us that it is precisely through challenges that the soul grows, the heart softens, and faith strengthens. Trials are like mirrors, reflecting both our vulnerabilities and our strengths, revealing the areas where we rely too heavily on ourselves instead of turning to Allah. Each difficulty is an invitation to pause, reflect, and recalibrate our hearts, to recognize that true reliance lies not in worldly means, but in the one who controls all things. Sometimes the lessons are subtle. A moment of patience teaches resilience. A period of waiting teaches trust. And an experience of loss teaches gratitude for what remains. Other times, the lessons are profound, reshaping our understanding of life, guiding us toward humility, compassion, and deeper devotion. The Quran reminds us that Allah does not burden a soul beyond its capacity, signaling that every challenge carries purpose and every hardship holds a hidden benefit. When we face trials with sincerity and reflection, we begin to see that difficulties are not meaningless obstacles, but tools for spiritual refinement. They teach empathy for others, strengthen our moral compass, and remind us that worldly comfort is temporary, while the growth of the soul is eternal. By seeking the wisdom behind each trial, we transform suffering into an act of worship, patience into a bridge toward closeness with Allah, and adversity into a catalyst for inner peace. The divine lessons embedded in struggle are gentle nudges from Allah, guiding us toward a heart that is resilient, faithful, and ever turning toward Him in trust and gratitude. Turning to Allah in prayer is one of the most profound sources of inner peace and clarity, especially when life feels overwhelming and the heart is heavy. In moments of confusion, sorrow, or fear, prayer becomes more than words. It becomes a refuge, a quiet space where the soul can unburden itself and reconnect with the divine. The Prophet taught us that the closest a servant is to Allah is during prostration, reminding us that humbling ourselves before Him brings comfort that the world cannot provide. When we speak to Allah sincerely, without pretense or hesitation, we are acknowledging our dependence on Him, our need for guidance, and our trust in His wisdom. Even when answers are delayed, the act of turning to Him cultivates patience, strengthens faith, and softens the heart. Prayer allows the soul to release anxiety, resentment, and fear, replacing them with hope, tranquility, and a renewed sense of purpose. Islam encourages not only formal prayer, but also heartfelt supplication, remembrance, and reflection. When we sit quietly, speak to Allah, and reflect on His words, the mind gains clarity and the heart feels lighter. It is through these moments that we begin to recognize the subtle ways in which Allah is guiding, protecting, and nurturing us, even when circumstances appear difficult. The regular practice of turning to Allah in prayer reminds us that we are never alone, that divine support surrounds us, and that no struggle is beyond His mercy. It creates a rhythm of surrender and trust, teaching the soul to lean on Him in times of uncertainty. Through consistent remembrance and sincere dialogue with Allah, the heart finds resilience, the mind finds focus, and the soul finds a deep, enduring peace that transforms hardship into an opportunity for spiritual growth and closeness to the one who knows us best. Trusting Allah or practicing tawakkul is one of the most profound acts of faith a believer can cultivate, yet it is often misunderstood as passivity or resignation. True tawakkul is an active, conscious reliance on Allah, a surrender of the illusion of complete control while maintaining hope, effort, and patience. It is the acknowledgement that while we strive and plan, the outcomes rest in the hands of the all-knowing, the most wise. Life often presents situations where, no matter how hard we try, results remain uncertain, and this is precisely where trust in Allah becomes a lifeline for the heart. The Quran reminds us, and whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him, 65:3, illustrating that reliance on the divine brings sufficiency, guidance, and protection that no worldly effort alone can achieve. Tawakkul does not absolve us of responsibility. It does not mean we stop working, learning, or striving. Rather, it transforms effort into worship, infusing every action with intention, humility, and awareness that success is ultimately a gift from Allah. When the heart practices tawakkul, anxiety diminishes because we recognize that the unseen is known and managed by a being infinitely wiser than ourselves. It allows the soul to move through uncertainty with serenity, to persevere in hardship without despair, and to maintain hope even when circumstances appear bleak. Trusting Allah means letting go of the need to control every outcome while holding tightly to faith that His plan is perfect, His timing precise, and His mercy encompassing. In moments of fear, doubt, or waiting, tawakkul becomes the bridge between despair and hope, surrender and strength, uncertainty and peace, reminding us that when we rely on Allah sincerely, we are never abandoned, and the heart finds a steadfast refuge that no trial can shake. Healing comes through the remembrance of Allah, through turning the heart inward toward the one who knows our deepest pains and unseen struggles. When life overwhelms us with sorrow, disappointment, or loss, it is easy to seek comfort in temporary distractions or in the approval of others, yet true healing begins in the quiet presence of Allah. The Quran reminds us, verily in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. 13:28, emphasizing that spiritual connection is the source of enduring peace and recovery. Remembrance is not merely a ritual, it is an intimate conversation, a turning of the heart toward divine mercy and guidance. Through dhikr, prayer, and reflection on His words, the soul finds clarity, perspective, and a profound sense of calm that cannot be achieved through worldly means. Healing through Allah's remembrance also involves accepting His wisdom in the unfolding of events, recognizing that every trial carries purpose, and surrendering the desire to control what is beyond our grasp. The heart begins to release grief, resentment, and anxiety as it learns to trust the unseen plan of the most compassionate. As we repeat His names, recite His promises, and dwell on His attributes, a subtle transformation occurs. Wounds become lessons. Pain becomes a bridge to patience, and despair is replaced by hope. The act of remembering Allah softens the heart, strengthens faith, and reminds us that no suffering is unnoticed, no tear uncounted, and no hardship without purpose. In the midst of confusion or heartbreak, the soul anchored in divine remembrance finds resilience and the courage to move forward. Through constant mindfulness of Allah, through reflection on His mercy and the certainty of His guidance, the believer discovers that healing is not just the absence of pain, but the presence of peace, trust, and a renewed connection with the one who is the ultimate source of comfort and restoration. Divine miracles often arrive in ways that are quiet, subtle, and unexpected, reminding us that Allah's wisdom surpasses human understanding. We often envision miracles as grand gestures, dramatic changes, or instant solutions to our problems. Yet the reality is that Allah's blessings frequently manifest in forms that the heart may not immediately recognize. A door may close that seemed essential, only for another to open that leads to greater ease, growth, or fulfillment. An answer to prayer may appear delayed, teaching patience, resilience, and trust along the way. And when it finally arrives, it carries a depth and timing that perfectly aligns with our readiness to receive it. The Prophet taught us that Allah's provision and mercy are limitless, and that the believer's steadfastness, hope, and trust in Him allow miracles to unfold in their lives. Sometimes the smallest shifts in circumstances, a word of encouragement, a new opportunity, a softened heart, are the very miracles that redirect our lives in alignment with divine wisdom. What seems ordinary or insignificant to the eye may hold extraordinary meaning in the divine scheme. Trusting in Allah's plan allows the believer to recognize these subtle miracles and to remain hopeful even in the face of adversity. True faith acknowledges that the unseen is full of signs and that blessings may come disguised as trials, delays, or challenges. Every hardship carries the potential for transformation, and every patient heart opens the door to blessings that could never have been imagined. Miracles are not only about the end result, they are about the growth, insight, and closeness to Allah that emerge through perseverance, reflection, and surrender. By keeping the heart open, maintaining hope, and trusting the unseen, we allow Allah's mercy and miracles to enter our lives in ways that exceed our understanding, reminding us that His power and wisdom are infinite and that His blessings always arrive when the soul is ready to receive them. Letting go of anger, resentment, and despair is essential for creating space for Allah's blessings and mercy to enter our hearts. When we cling to negative emotions, we carry a weight that dims our connection with Him and clouds our ability to see the guidance and opportunities that surround us. Islam teaches that holding on to grudges or bitterness not only harms our spiritual well-being, but also prevents us from fully trusting in Allah's plan. The Prophet reminded us of the power of forgiveness, showing that releasing resentment is a path toward inner peace and divine favor. Letting go does not mean condoning injustice or ignoring wrongdoing. Rather, it is an intentional act of surrender, a conscious choice to free the heart from the chains of emotional burden. When the soul is heavy with anger or despair, it struggles to recognize the subtle signs of Allah's mercy and the blessings that may be hidden within trials. By forgiving others and ourselves, by releasing past hurts, and by choosing hope over despair, we make room for healing, growth, and spiritual closeness. Anger and resentment are barriers that block our vision, while letting go opens the heart to clarity, gratitude, and contentment. Despair clouds trust in divine wisdom. But by surrendering it, we reaffirm our reliance on Allah, acknowledging that He is the best of planners. Each moment spent holding on to negativity is a moment in which we could instead cultivate patience, gratitude, and hope. The act of releasing these burdens is itself a form of worship, a recognition that ultimate justice and mercy belong to Allah alone. In this way, the heart becomes lighter, more receptive, and better able to embrace the miracles, guidance, and tranquility that Allah wishes to bestow, transforming struggle into spiritual opportunity. The soul grows through trials, and every difficulty we encounter serves as a catalyst, drawing us closer to Allah. Life is not meant to be a smooth journey. It is a path designed to refine the heart, strengthen faith, and cultivate resilience. Each challenge, whether it is loss, disappointment, or pain, is an opportunity for spiritual awakening. A moment that calls the believer to pause, reflect, and redirect their reliance toward the most merciful. When the heart faces hardship, it is often pulled away from distraction and comfort, creating space to recognize the presence of Allah in every detail of life. Trials illuminate the weakness we may not have acknowledged and the strength we did not know existed, teaching humility, patience, and surrender. The Prophet taught that believers are tested according to their capacity and that endurance through trials is a means of purification, bringing the soul closer to Allah's mercy. As the soul navigates these experiences, it learns to release reliance on the fleeting, to embrace gratitude amidst difficulty, and to find hope in unseen possibilities. Struggle awakens empathy, deepens compassion, and nurtures an understanding of life that cannot be gained in ease alone. Each trial is an invitation to strengthen tawakkul, to practice patience, and to turn the heart consistently toward divine guidance. Through these challenges, the believer comes to see that closeness to Allah is not measured by comfort, but by steadfastness, sincerity, and faithfulness in the face of adversity. Hardship does not diminish the soul, it polishes it, refining character and nurturing resilience. With each test, the heart becomes more attuned to divine wisdom, more aware of the transient nature of worldly trials, and more capable of embracing life with trust, hope, and a profound connection to the one who controls all affairs with perfect knowledge and mercy. Forgiveness, both of oneself and of others, is a profound act that liberates the heart and allows it to draw closer to Allah. Holding on to grudges, resentment, or guilt creates a heaviness within the soul, obscuring the clarity and peace that come from sincere faith. Islam teaches that forgiveness is not only a moral virtue, but also a spiritual necessity, a path to purification and inner freedom. The Prophet reminded us of the immense reward in pardoning others, illustrating that mercy extended to others reflects the mercy we hope to receive from Allah. When we forgive, we release the burden of anger, resentment, and bitterness, creating space for hope, healing, and divine guidance to flourish. Forgiving oneself is equally important, for guilt and self-blame can become chains that prevent growth, reflection, and reconciliation with the past. Recognizing our human limitations, seeking Allah's pardon, and allowing ourselves to move forward strengthens both humility and faith. Every act of forgiveness is an acknowledgement that ultimate justice and wisdom belong to Allah alone, and that by letting go, we entrust our affairs to Him. When the heart practices forgiveness, it experiences a subtle transformation. Pain softens, clarity emerges, and the soul becomes receptive to blessings that may have been blocked by negativity or anger. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is a sign of strength, courage, and unwavering trust in Allah's plan. It frees the heart from cycles of hurt, creating the conditions for divine mercy to enter, for wounds to heal, and for hope to reemerge even after deep disappointment. Through forgiveness, we align ourselves with the principles of Islam, cultivating compassion, patience, and resilience, and nurturing a spiritual environment in which trust in Allah, inner peace, and the possibility of miracles can take root and flourish. Hope is a gift from Allah, a light that shines within the heart, even in the darkest of times, reminding the believer that no matter how dire the situation appears, mercy, relief, and blessings are always near. It is hope that allows the soul to endure hardship, that gives strength when patience wanes, and that nurtures trust when the unseen seems overwhelming. Islam teaches that hope is not wishful thinking. It is a deep, conscious recognition of Allah's power, mercy, and wisdom. The Quran reminds us, so do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins. Indeed, it is He who is the forgiving, the merciful, 3953, assuring the heart that no circumstance is beyond His compassion. Even when prayers appear unanswered, when doors remain closed, and when pain lingers longer than anticipated, hope anchors the soul in faith and surrender. It is hope that transforms waiting into worship, struggle into growth, and uncertainty into trust. A heart filled with hope refuses despair, for it knows that Allah's plan is perfect, His timing flawless, and His understanding beyond comprehension. Hope motivates action, encourages patience, and softens the heart, allowing it to remain open to blessings, miracles, and guidance that may arrive in unexpected ways. When we cultivate hope, we nurture resilience, faith, and a profound awareness of divine presence in every detail of our lives. It is hope that enables us to forgive, to release anger, to endure trials, and to continue seeking closeness to Allah, even when the journey is difficult. The believer who holds on to hope understands that life's challenges are temporary, that every trial carries purpose, and that divine mercy is constant. Hope is a quiet strength, a spiritual lifeline, and a reminder that no matter how heavy the heart feels, Allah's light can always enter, renew, and guide the soul toward peace, healing, and unimaginable blessings. In every moment of hardship, in every tear that falls, and in every silence of unanswered prayer, remember that Allah's mercy is nearer than you imagine, His wisdom deeper than you can see, and His plan more perfect than your heart can comprehend. Do not let despair take root, for hope is a divine gift, a beacon that guides the soul through darkness. Trust in His timing, surrender with sincerity, and embrace patience as your strength. The struggles you endure are not meaningless. They are shaping your heart, refining your faith, and preparing you for blessings and miracles beyond your imagination. Keep turning to Him, keep seeking His guidance, and never lose sight of the promise that with hardship comes ease, with darkness comes light, and with every trial comes the opportunity for your soul to draw closer to its Creator. Hold firmly to hope, for it is the spark that transforms suffering into growth, pain into resilience, and waiting into divine preparation. Your miracle is on its way, and Allah's mercy will meet you exactly where you are, in the perfect time, in the perfect way.